Alrighty, this is a CAN presentation we did in 2020 until other commitments blocked me from doing more. Dick Thompson and I did some Let's Talk Trolleys. We did several presentations on different things. So this presentation was actually live on Zoom. We had people from all around the US actually watching this. So this is the chance for everyone who didn't get to see it to be able to see it today as a membership. And I think we'll probably do it again. Let's Talk Trolleys, maybe in 2022 some point. Don't need to go through all that stuff. So Southern Pacific Oregon Red Electric. I look at Oregon's other major interurban railways. So everyone knows the Oregon Electric Railway, and of course we also had a competitor, the Red Electric. Oregon Electric started service between Portland and Salem in 1908. That directly and in competition with the Southern Pacific Mainline. The SP did, and then the OE went even so far as extended all the way down to Eugene, so a direct competitor in the Willamette Valley to the Southern Pacific. The SP did not like that. So the Portland, Eugene, and Eastern was set up as the SP subsidiary and basically bought up the streetcar lines in Westland, Salem, Albany, and Eugene, with the idea that those cities would eventually be linked on an interurban system. And then they started electrification of SP Westside line, not the Valley Main. 1914, the electric passenger service started from Portland to Whiteston, which is just south of McMinnville. And then 1917, the extension of Corvallis was opened. The SP had lots of plans to electrify the main line, but that never came to pass. And even though the OE lasted a lot longer than the SP Red Electric, the OE started in 1908 and it ended in 1933 from passenger service. The Red Electric ended in 1929. So the SP came in late and left early. So it's not enough for two competitive systems in the valley. So this is the map of the system. There was basically two lines out of Portland. One went out via Forest Grove, and then one went south directly from the city, and then they both joined up just north of McMinnville, and then eventually ended down in Corvallis. The plan to get to Eugene never happened. So, but this shows all of extent of SP at the time.
I've read in Legrand's book that 1.5 million passengers per year went on this system you're talking about from 1915 to 1920. So 5 years, there's hauling 1.5 million passengers. That's a lot of passengers.
Yep. And the OE was doing some similar numbers. So there was a lot of need for service at the time because that was before I-5 and good roads or Highway 99.
Yeah.
This is just an example of the timetables. This timetable is from 1919, the Westside schedule to Forest Grove. So this is commuter zone. It was almost commuter service back then. I mean, Max basically takes a part of that slack service, although this Max is more on the OE side, but it still served the same communities on the Portland West side. This is 1920, the east side schedule going down to Lake Oswego and Tualatin. So again, another commuter zone. This three-car train is sitting in Corvallis in the 1920s, right in the, let me forget the name of the street. It's a 5th Street in Corvallis.
That sounds about right. There used to be track going down there. So
Corvallis High School in the background.
Yep, Corvallis High School. I think it's Civic Center now. So this is from the Eugene Register Guard 1912. Just some newspaper articles I found. The fact that SP was going to build a gigantic system, electric railways radiating from Eugene. That came to pass. So a lot of grandiose plans. This is an ad that they pulled out the Portland Eugene and Eastern Railway, the road that makes good on every promise made to the people. 340 miles of electric road in Willamette Valley, 1 year from today. This is 1913 in the Morning Register. I don't think that promise ever was made, but this is just another article from the Eugene Register, January 1st, 1914, just saying the electric trains are coming soon. I'll just kind of go through area by area. So the first is the route through Portland. So going down from Union Station down 4th, then it would turn down Jefferson and then the Jefferson Street Station, and then would just continue south. Well, you go different directions there. So this is at Union Station. So there's a steel bridge in the background. This is car number 203 and number 706. It's years 1915. The car bodies are by Pullman. The trucks are by Baldwin. This is car 208. You can see the steel bridge still in the background there. This is car 214. I don't have the exact location for this car, where it's at. You notice this one actually says Southern Pacific Lines, and then over here it says ONC, so Oregon, California, number 214.
You can see how the pantograph had to be extended up in that ugly platform.
Yep. Very high wires. Who says it doesn't snow in Portland? This is in 1960. So, and you can see there's another train, but they're probably stuck because another train right behind it. It does say this is a congested district.
Yeah, it does.
And safety first.
Safety first. Here's a, what, 5-car train. This is, again, Union Station. It's going to go to Oswego, because it wasn't Lake Oswego at the time. It was just Oswego. Because baggage car or RPO with three coaches behind it. Westside local. Station shot. The conductor there, his name is Klein, and this picture's from 1914. This is a combine number 513. This is in 1923. This is a Warren Wing photo. Oh, that looks like a fun job to replace the pan. I'll bet you the overhead is still energized with him working right below it.
Probably so. You'll notice they haven't extended the platform yet.
No. They have to extend because of the main line? The wire was higher, or do you know?
Just too high. I don't know. They originally had a pneumatic way to raise all those at the same time, and it broke the wire, so they stopped doing that. You just pulled a lever and they all went up.
Bam, 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 bam.
It was too much, apparently.
Like this photo was on the internet. The owner was Stephen Jay, who owned the photo. It's from 1920. Stephen Jay's grandfather is the third man from, hold on, my notes here. Third man from the left. So third man from the left here. So that is, well, this left, sorry. So is Frank J. Schick Sr. So it's always nice to actually have a name to a photo.
Looks like a policeman in the middle.
Yep. This guy's a stogie.
Yeah.
And the station agent.
And this is Hostler Gene Mull moving a car at Portland Union Station in 1918.
And the motorman who came to a bad end is in that picture too. But we won't mention that.
Oh, that will be mentioned later. So, this is the ticket office at 4th and Stark in 1921. A nice waiting room.
Yeah.
4th in 1920, Westside local.
Back in the congested zone, and it's not.
This is in Salem. This is one of the Freight Motors 101 at Hogden Brewery. Salem has.
Where's that now? Where's Hodgkin Brewery?
It's in Salem. So Salem had 3 breweries, I think, at the time, served by the SP and the OE.
Prohibition probably killed him.
Oh, that's would be correct. So he's a 60-ton pulling a bunch of logs. I think it was Oregon.
Old growth.
So the west side, part of the loop, via Hillsborough, Forest Grove, down towards McInnville. This is Terwilliger Trestle. Pretty high up.
No water barrels.
Beaverton shops in 1914. You can see they're very temporary.
Yeah, and they never did stop using them.
Nope, they were temporarily permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the shops in 1915. Hillsborough. So a classic SP style station. Forest Grove.
That building's still standing.
Yeah, it's hard to recognize it, but
It
does. It still does stand. Another view of the depot. Yeah, it's a museum now. I haven't been inside it yet, though.
They enclosed it, so that kind of messed up the station appearance.
Yep. There's another shot of it. This is in Forest Grove at McMiniman's Grand Lodge. They have a little mural on it. Just talk about the red electric and also the fact that Oregon Electric also provided service to Portland from Forest Grove. Their terminals were like a half a block from each other.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
This is Gaston. This is in the early 1900s, before the electrics came through. This is after this one. You can see the overheads in. So the wires here that they kept the original station. Gaston still has that very small town feel, and then the wide spot along Highway 47. That is the old right of way, because the right of way actually wasn't decommissioned until what, the 80s, I think.
Yeah, something like that. It's weird to see the water towers still there too. In the picture.
Next down the line would be Carlton. So this is the second depot from 1887. It's not the current depot even. This before the electrics, although the electrics may have seen this depot. This is the new depot. Well, they would have seen that old depot because this is the new depot that was built in 1923 that still exists today. It's basically a winery tasting room. A beautiful building. East Side line. So this would pop through Lake Oswego, what we call Lake Oswego today, and Willamette Shore Trolley. So this is this RPO car number 772 leading a 5-car train by the cemetery. This is before electrics, but this is the old trestle along the river bypassing Elk Rock, because this was before the tunnel was opened. It's a long trestle. It's during the winter. It's electrified at this point. This is building of the Elk Rock Tunnel. So this is the current bypass or going around the Elk Rock, and then this is the tunnel being built. And then this is when the tunnel opening in 1921. Well, I'm sure we should stage that same photo someday.
Yes, no graffiti.
Yeah, no graffiti. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe have a web car there too. That's a shame.
This is obviously they haven't started taking down the old trestle yet, and you can see an electric car going, train going right through right now. Probably this trestle, I mean, is so slow, so this is probably very slow, subject to fires and such like that. So the tunnel really helped.
Yeah.
So this is pre-electrification, steam train coming into Oswego. A shot in Oswego. State Street doesn't look like that anymore.
No.
This electric's now serving the station. It's a nice crew. This train terminated here from Portland. And we had the shot in Lake Oswego. This is the old substation in Lake Oswego, which still exists, although it's getting harder and harder to tell that with the condos. We'll look at that later. This is
When did they build the station in Lake Oswego that we're using now as a gift shop? When was that built?
do not know. I don't know the history of that little tiny cinder block building. This is in 1925 between Rex and Springbrook. Very farmland. I don't think it looks like that as much as it used to. So this is Newburgh, going right down through the business district. So the electrics ran through the business district while the main line bypassed it. This is a Portland Commercial Club special coming right through Newburgh. So that's a 6-car train coming through. That's a pretty big train.
yeah.
It is.
Hopefully the dog doesn't get run over. Another shot in Newburgh. I mean, a lot of these buildings still exist through downtown.
Yeah, I sold a picture to the bakery on the corner there.
Same location. Nice horse and buggy. Never a quiet roads today going through Newburgh. Okay, the Valley Main Line, St. Joseph down to Corvallis. So this is McMinnville Station. The original McMinnville Depot before the electrics came through. It was a very large station. This is the one that still exists in McMinnville today. Nice brick building. This is a Wells Fargo Express, 1915 at Whiteston. This is a substation that no longer exist. This is in Wellsdale. It's in 1916. Wellsdale itself no longer exists because it became Camp Adair for World War II. So the training grounds, the right of way was actually shifted because the line used to go right through Wellsdale, but that's also where central Camp Adair is. So they actually rerouted the rail line around it when they built the camp. But of course, that was electrics already were gone by that time. This is in Corvallis in 1925, and this station still exists, but not at that location.
No, they moved it for a restaurant.
Yet they moved it for a restaurant. But this building, the Baggage Express office still exists in the same location. No, it was right next to the station. But this is right here, still there. It does snow in Corvallis. This is December 11th, 1919. It's a lot of snow there.
Mhm.
Another shot in Corvallis. You have an electric, but you also have a steam train. My guess is probably something, probably university special going on. Probably football game, maybe even. Here's the high school. Like this building's, the high school's still there. It's the Civic Center now, I believe. City of Corvallis. Okay, then there is always probably the worst thing ever happened is the Bertha Wreck. So that happened on May 9th. Let me get my notes here. May 9th, 1920. A train from Portland, number 107, with conductor O.D. Johnson, brakeman O'Connor, engineer Dick Bland, and Portland-bound Westside train number 124 with engineer Willett, brakeman W.A. Fish, and conductor Austin Ferris. So this Bertha, you can see the Capitol Highway there. So both trains had train orders to meet at Bertha siding, which is just east of Bertha Station by Capitol Highway. Train 124 picked up passengers, then pulled into Bertha siding, but for some reason they did not stop. And train number 107 from Portland had not arrived. The conductor knew the train orders to hold, but did not try to stop the train. Train number 124 was running at around 35 miles per hour. 107 was slowing down for the siding at 15 miles per hour. There was extreme low visibility, there was fog, and there was also a curve. Sorry, I gotta get my cursor onto my right screen so I can see this. And the train crew of number 124, who was supposed to hold the side, was blamed for the wreck by not following the train orders. So there was no signals. It was all based on train orders at the time, which, considering this was a passenger with, I mean, not heavy, what we would call heavy commuter service today, but there was still a lot of trains on the line. So it's kind of a perfect storm, unfortunately.
And they could not interview that crew and ask them why they proceeded.
That's correct, unfortunately. So this is the location, approximate location. So Bertha Boulevard was the right of way. So this would have been right around where the accident occurred. So there was the main line curved here. The train was supposed to hold up here, but it continued. And meanwhile, the other train was coming up this way, and this is where the collision is. So this train had no chance to see the train coming at them. This is a modern shot of the area. Nothing, it's not even a marker or anything signifying this is where it happened. This is a newspaper article from the Oregon Daily Journal from Monday, May 10th, 1920. So this is from top to bottom. The top is, these are the fatalities. So Frederick Peeble, Mrs. Lillian Crooks of Hillsdale, Newton Hoover of Beaverton, and Kemneil Dosh. That person is at high risk of death at the time. Also dead was Grace Arndall and a 4-year-old son, Robert J.F. Peebler, an SP engineer as a passenger, and then C.A. Crooks from Hillsborough, Floyd Dosh, Jocelyn, who was age 6, Newton Hoover, SP employee, And then, of course, the engineer of train 124, Silas K. Willett.
That's the guy
It's the guy.
who was in the other picture.
Yep.
Isn't this still the worst train wreck or fatality wise?
In Oregon?
Yeah.
Probably. I would think so. I haven't heard anything else worse. There's a gruesome scenes. Some next photo, there's a one photo that's coming up that's pretty gruesome. So a total of eight killed, 5 passengers, three employees, 92 passengers and 10 employees injured. 1 passenger later died as a result of his injuries. And all but one of those were killed were in the lead car of train 124.
My dad was in grade school at that time, and his teacher
Oh,
was the wife of the conductor that was blamed for this. And she came to work the day after, and she was just crying. She couldn't understand why was she blamed for it. But just a point of information.
You can see how the one train went right through the other one.
It was pretty bad.
Spikes went up and over the anti-climbers and just straight through.
It was a mess.
wow.
This is a gruesome photo of, I'm still going to point it out. The engineer's hand is in the photo right here.
Oh,
His gloved hand, I think. Yeah.
It was gruesome. They had gawkers coming out from everywhere to see this. That they had to keep the crowds back. I mean, look at the amount of crowds that came out.
oh my goodness.
This is when they're trying to do salvage.
Oh,
Big hook.
It took a lot of work to get those cars apart and then get them out of there. The aftermath.
oh my goodness.
The trolley that we have now is designed not to have a smash like that. It's designed to take the max 170,000 pound force to crush into the bumper on it. If you look at the trolley underneath it, it's just solid steel to prevent this type of accident. It would never crush like that. Just information.
Just disintegrated.
I mean, it was a tin
Well,
can.
if it had been an OE car, it'd have been worse because they're wood.
Yeah.
What happened after that? They put signals in.
Yeah. Too late.
Always the case after the fact.
Yep. Right, the end of the line. So this is just a newspaper notice that the SP is going to abandon their red electrics. Basically, they got served notice that they're going to close service in 30 days. That's red electric to come off for sure. They were losing 20 grand a month. This was what I thought was odd is that this article was pulled out because this was just before the red electrics were finally ended. It kind of ended in a sad thing, the fact that there was a accident between a car and an SP red electric train. Rallis Albany gravel road. That was the end of the era. The wires started coming down pretty quickly afterwards. This is motor number 102 in Portland in 1941. So it sat dormant for quite some time. It was sold in 1942 to the Iowa Improvement Company. Number 102, after being sold to the Waterloo, Cedar Falls, and Northern in 1940. Well, I'm sorry, I'm reading my note back bad. So this was 102. It was sold to the Waterloo, Cedar Falls, and Northern in 1944. The location of this image is in Waterloo, Iowa in 1954. So some red electrics continued on. They just went to SP's other property. So this would be of course, the Pacific Electric. So this was originally SP number 511 from Portland, and it became 1375. This is in San Bernardino.
And it says Orange Empire or something.
Yes, it does say that.
That can't be real.
Yes, it is. That was a tour.
This is 1375. This was Portland's number 514. This is 1259. So this was Portland's 473. But they did live on. This is 1260 on the Cinemac airline. This was Portland's 474. I see the Richfield gas over here.
Oh, yeah.
Here goes RPO. This is 1406. This was Portland's number 772. The Pacific Electric bus back here. And of course, there's you can still find Red Electric stuff remnants today. So like this is the Carlton station. Carlton, as mentioned earlier, it's now a winery tasting room, nicely restored.
Is the wigwag still there?
This picture, yes, this wigwag was still there at least a couple of years ago.
We're advertising it. Our
but-
wigwag's the last one in Oregon.
Well, this one's not at the crossing. And there is no rail crossing it here anymore either.
Mm-mm.
But this is not it where the rails would have crossed either. This is in McMinnville. Oh, this is actually labeled for Willamette Pacific, so they still use these. The rail still uses as offices. This is the Corvallis station. So today it's a old spaghetti factory. When I worked at with HP in the 1990s, it was Michael's Landing,
Right.
which was a great restaurant. And then that folded and became a Mexican restaurant. Then it was empty for a while. Now OSF took it over.
I didn't know OSF did.
Yep. We actually just ate there a week ago. It's really nicely done inside. And I'll show you a shot of this mural. So this is the mural that they put in. I know Dick will say boo, but this is for the beavers.
I was biting my tongue. Thanks for bringing that up.
Oh, because they did run beaver specials.
Yeah, I knew there was some kind of a college or other there.
Some people, like if Dan McFarland were on here, he'd say better colleges.
Yeah, Dan has that problem.
This is the freight house. It's still in the same location, right off Fifth. The Portland Western still run right there in the middle of the street.
Mm.
Need to turn that into something.
The city of Corvallis owns it. It's for Department of Public Works.
Okay.
This Hillsborough train station still there in the Y. This is the Forest Grove station that you can't recognize at all. But they put this nomenclature, but it's been so heavily modified over the years. It's hard to see rail heritage, except for these three windows give the rail heritage.
Right.
Of course, Portland Union Station was where all the trains came out of. It's still very much still there.
Not the OE.
And the electrics would have been on these two tracks, I believe. And there's a couple substations left. So this is in Dundee. There. Is it for some sort of storage of some sort? It goes the insulator, so it really tells you it definitely was electric. And then the other one's in McCoy. It's kind of on private property, but someone, actually not me, but someone else placed a geocache there. That person said he had permission to do so. So I use that as my permission to go in and check out the interior of the building. It's not in as good shape as some of the Oregon Electric stations. That's rare rating on there.
Yeah.
And then Lake Oswego. So this was the substation, became apartments, and now it's fully condoized and really hard to tell
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
that it was a substation. You can tell a little bit from this side, but it's hard to get a photo because so much greenery has been grown up around there. There's something called Willamette Shore Trolley that runs on the old Red Electric. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but
Yeah.
Riverwood steps are not that far away. Elk Rock Tunnel still very much in use. And then there's been proposal arriving soon. I think arriving soon has been years, but the Red Electric Trail, they want to implement Washington County and Southwest Portland. And so this is kind of their proposal. Some parts of the trail do exist. It'd be interesting to see how much comes to fruition. I know they've been working on portions of it. If they do it fully, they should put a marker where the Bertha Wreck was. What has happened to you folks? So then there's 1299. So that's still around. It was Portland, Eugene, Eastern Snow 477. It was made more into a president's type car for the PE. And it still very much exists down at what was Orange Empire is now what Southern California Railroad Museum.
Did they add those windows then?
Yeah. Yep. It was originally the standard Portland owl windows.
There's a bathroom in it too.
That's it. Is there any questions, comments?